Hey, it's me, MLB. Here is chapter 42 of Cute Little Love Letters, and this one is titled Aura Spiral. Your eyes shifted from her fingers and palm, up her arm, back to her face, and she gave you a snarling smirk, knowing you understood what she had done. Welcome, she said, but her voice didn't sound as welcoming as what you had thought it should. You reached out and held onto the back of Denki's shirt with your fingertips of the hand that was free of the roses, while he looked around. Wow, you heard him whisper. This place is hella cool. You kept your head down. For some reason you just really didn't like this place. The lady closed her curtains and walked around from behind you, your body feeling her presence keenly when she moved, and she walked around behind a desk and sat down, and then gestured for Denki to sit in the chair across the desk from her, and you to sit in the chair beside him. You did so, but you kept your head down, your heart straining in your chest. Nice setup here, Denki said brightly, and for a second you felt like everything might be okay, just judging by how happy he was, but when you looked up, you knew things weren't good at all. The lady was staring right at you, and her sharp gaze caught yours. Tension, she mused, still looking at you, and you knew she was talking to you, but couldn't bring yourself to reply. So, Denki said, cutting in unknowingly. About this, fortune? Yes, the lady said, switching her gaze to his. She raised her right arm, a small wisp of pink haze following her arm movements as she moved it in a way that you felt was like some kind of symbol that she was drawing in the air. You looked at Denki and saw that he was watching her hand, his eye movements following wherever she moved her hand to. Oh, this is not good. This is not good, you repeated in your mind. She's trying to hypnotize him or something. You reached out and placed a hand on his arm, and he looked at you, finally seeing that something was making you feel uncomfortable. You okay? He asked softly. What's wrong? You glanced at the lady and saw that her eyes were starting to glow slightly. Was this actually happening, or were you imagining it? I sense a strong citrine royalty in this place, she suddenly said loudly, and your heart dropped. Oh, we need to get out now, you thought, as you stood up quickly and grabbed for Denki's arm. The lady threw both arms up and green haze followed. Are you going to do away with me also? She gasped, and your heart started racing. Huh? Denki asked, confused. We need to go, you said urgently, and turned away from the lady to take Denki away. The sins of your father follow you, princess, the lady called, a small nasty chuckle following her words. All hail the citrine royal family! You burst out of the curtains with Denki being dragged behind you, with him looking back over his shoulder to see the lady bowing to you as you left. What on earth? He asked as you continued to drag him away from the tent, your whole body prickling as you moved. Yin, what was that about? He asked as you pushed your way through the crowds. What do I say? I don't know what to tell him. I can't tell him, you thought frantically as you pulled him with you. Yin? He asked again. Hey, what's wrong? You could hear him, but you were panicking and just kept going until you were through most of the crowds at the end of the stalls. Hey, Denki said again, reaching out to touch your arm to get your attention. You jumped and spun around, your wild eyes looking up into his. You look spooked. What happened back there? He asked with concern and confusion, his eyes searching yours. I don't know, you lied. I don't know what happened. She was a little weird, he said with a small apologetic chuckle. What was she saying? Stuff about royalty? I don't know, you said quickly, trying to sound as convincing as possible but knowing you were failing. Denki cocked his head at you and was about to ask something else when a voice from nearby drew his attention. Young sir, I do hope you have pure intentions with your hands on my yin, an elderly voice said. You looked across as well and saw that it was Mr. Furuo, and you were suddenly drawn back to the present. Putting your concerns aside, you smiled at him and then took Denki's hand and walked over to the elderly coffee brewer. Sir, this is Denki, a very good friend of mine, you said to him. Mr. Furuo had seen that something was not right just a second ago, but didn't know any context behind it, and so decided to leave his thoughts and opinions aside until he could work out what was going on. He thought that maybe something had happened between you and Denki. Ah, he said as he walked around his coffee machine and desk and made his way over to Denki. Let me inspect, he said as he stood there with hands on hips and stared intently at Denki. Denki just smiled and Mr. Furuo looked at you. "A fine gentleman," he finally said, and Denki looked relieved. Thank you, sir," he said with a grin on his face, and Mr. Furuo returned his smile. "Come now, and have some tea or coffee," Mr. Furuo offered as he turned away. "My coffee can heal all." You and Denki decided to take a seat then at the stall and sat down for a second, the air feeling a little thick from your side of the table as you looked down at the table too and hugged Denki's little crocheted toy clothes and the roses as well. Denki made a little light conversation as Mr. Furuo brought a coffee over for you both, and you tried to follow and talk, but your heart just wasn't in it. Mr. Furuo could see that there was indeed something going on with you, but didn't know what. He decided to keep an eye on you, though, while you sat there with Denki and drank your tea, and hoped that he might be able to help you a little later. You and Denki sat there for about 10 minutes, sipping and chatting, before Denki's phone buzzed in his pocket, and he pulled it out to look at it. "Oh," he said with a little dejection. My folks are asking if they can see me. I told them I'd be out of the dorms this weekend, so they want to meet up." "It's okay," you said quickly. "You go and see them. I need to finish up helping Mum, and then I'll see you tomorrow night back at the dorms." "Okay," he nodded. "I really wanted to spend more time with you." "Same," you said, but in your heart you just wanted to talk to your mum and dad about what had happened and work out what to do from here, but Denki didn't appear to want to go, so you stood up and he reluctantly followed suit. "I'll take you back to my mum and you can say goodbye, and then, yeah," you said as you turned to head back in the direction of your mum's stall. Sure, yep," he said, quickly following you. "Bye, Mr. Furuo," you said politely as you left. "Goodbye, young'uns," he called as you walked off, his eyes following you as you left. You were kinda on a mission then, and led Denki back to your mum's stall, and then said a somewhat awkward and hurried goodbye to him before he left. You did feel bad about pushing him out like that, but there was so much on your mind at that point you just needed to get it off your chest, and you couldn't with him there. "Mum," you said as soon as he had gone, and you'd checked the place for customers. "Something happened. Who is the clairvoyant down the other end with the purple drapes around her shop?" I'm not sure," your mum replied quizzically. "Why do you ask?" "She said some stuff, and she knows about Dad. She called me princess and a royal citrine descendant, and she can do this," you said, closing your pinky over to your palm with your other fingers standing straight. "It's something only royal citrine descendants can do. She said this in front of Denki, and I haven't told him anything about Dad or the royal fairy stuff, and now he's asking questions. What do I do?" you said with fear and urgency in your voice. "Come," your mum said, feeling your aura all out of whack and wanting to give you a hug to calm you down at least. You stepped into her embrace and took a deep breath in and then out. "It's okay," she said gently. "It's not totally unusual for a clairvoyant to be able to pick up on your history like that, but it does sound a little odd. Let me ask your dad." Ooh, this is a bit of a spanner in the works, isn't it? Stay tuned for the next chapter coming tomorrow. I'll see you then.